What's cracking, investors? Look, we're back at some real low valuations again on JD. And I've made some enormous plays. I'm actually going to show you the play and what I'm doing. So the valuations, we're sitting at 34.89 right now. The last time I made a play on JD was 2 months ago, and I made a video about it. This is not going to be a video about so much numbers. I'm going to comment on the company overall. But if you want to see a more in-depth analysis of the video, I have one already that I made 2 months ago. You can check that one out. It's right here in the middle. You can see it. It's got the green JD.com. Right, this one here. This is what it looks like. So you can go check that one out if you want. I'll probably leave the link somewhere in the comments or in the description of the video. All right, look, I have an agenda here. A few things I want to mention about the company. But for the most part, the valuation's crazy again, okay? So I have stockanalysis.com pulled up just so we can take a look at some numbers real briefly. Like I said, it's not going to be very in-depth. I just want to make a few comments about where the company is actually at right now and what has happened since, right, in the recent history, and where the company's headed. So this is stockanalysis.com. It was a red day, of course. And during the last 5 days, it's been pretty reddish. You know, the market's trying to discount all kinds of political events and world events, economy, state in China, and the world economy. So it's heavily discounting everything. And I think we're back at levels where the valuations are just absolutely screaming. So this is what we're talking about. Just to put in perspective a little bit. So 56 billion. These are in US dollars. These particular figures, 56 billion in market capitalization, right? However, enterprise value at 36.2 for the business. And I mean, they have controlling stakes in a ton of businesses. They have, like, you know, the logistics business, health, whatever. They have a ton of businesses under JD. I mean, it's so huge. I'm gonna show you some figures in a second, just so you can get an idea of how big this company actually is. All right, so we got net cash. You can see right here. Look, they have 30 billion in cash, 10 billion in debt, and net cash of $20 billion. $20 billion. So like half the company almost is just sitting in cash. How ludicrous is that? I mean, you're just basically getting the company for almost for free. Yes, there's obviously a lot of cash, a lot of catches in there. You know, the issues about it being a Chinese company, etc. You know, the VIADR situation. I comment on that on the other video, but I just really want to take a look at some figures real briefly, just to show you what is going on with the valuation. I want to say this. Look. If you go back to Max, the company was at the similar price, at the same exact price, right here in 2015. So let's just see what's happened since then. Since 2015, just to look at the revenues, the revenue figure for 2015 was 181. This is trillion, I think, yuan. And now over here, billion. Sorry, these are billions, I think. Yeah, 181 billion yuan. And now, in 2022, he concluded at 1 trillion, over 1 trillion yuan. So 6 times, basically, the revenue. 6 times the revenue, almost. That's insane. The company grew 6 times, and it's at the same price. And with not that much dilution. I mean, these are the shares diluted here. So the share count was almost the same 2015. 2.7 billion shares here. 3.2 billion shares now. So same size company, same ownership ratio, same price 6 years ago. In 2015, 8 years ago. 6 times the revenue. 6 times. Yes, I know. You know, the profit margin was anticipated to be higher, etc. But you know, they can maneuver that as they see fit. All right. Their focus right now, obviously, is on growth. Okay, but just wanna before I move on to some overview numbers. Market cap 56 billion, enterprise value 36 billion dollars. Insane. A couple other things I want to point out. Price to sales ratio at 0.37, right? EV to sales 0.24. There was a company called VipShop that I actually made a little bit of money on that I should still be owning. It doubled since I last had it. So that's unfortunate for me, but I just tend not to hold things for very long. So that's my fault. But that company had a similar price to EV to sales ratio, and now it's doubled. So it's actually too high for me to buy at the moment. It's a discount retailer. You can check it out. I think the symbol is VIPS if you're interested. But moving on with JD. All right. 0.24 EV to sales. Enterprise value to sales. That's insane. EV to cash flow to free cash flow is 12.29. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. So of course I made a play on this. I'm gonna show you the play right now, just so you can see. You might have gotten a little bit of preview here on the bottom, but as I scroll down, look at what's going on. I have $111,000 as cash collateral for this trade. Okay, so basically I've sold some puts, and I'm planning on collecting a lot of premium. So $111,000 worth of collateral. So hopefully I'll hold on to that at least for some profit. Original plan is to hold all the way through to January next year, but I do have a hard time holding in trades especially when I have some early profit. So if things go my way, I might exit prematurely, just like I've exited my few last trades prematurely. But don't worry about me. Let's talk about the company, right? So here's what's going on. 0.37 price to sales, like we talked about. EVs 0.24. This is just where the company's at right now. Like a week ago or so, 11 days ago, there was a shopping event powered by JD's. There's 618 event, June 18th event. And in that event, first of all, they blew expectations. All right, they beat expectations basically on all levels. And I just want to mention a few things about that event. Okay, so in that event, we got 380, I think, offline stores. I think this is 1,000 offline stores to participate, which is a 80% increase year over year. So that's a big increase in participation right there. There was some staggering numbers here. 660 million clicks on their one-click price protection program, which apparently guarantees the price as soon as they click on the item for them. It guarantees the price. And people that go to these kind of sites, they love a deal. They love a deal. There's a big obsession about getting the cheapest possible price for the same item. There's a lot of competition on that in China. So other than the 618 event, the employee count for JD.com has grown to 560,000 employees. That's a lot. Now, to me, that's actually a little bit of a liability, especially if you're a business in the West where, every employee is a lawsuit possibility, right? Managing employees gets harder the more you have. You need to hire more management. So there's a lot of downsides to me personally. I would rather see higher efficiency where you are hiring less employees and still able to cover a lot of ground. But they are covering a lot of ground. Because of these 560,000 employees, they have 580 million active customers. So 580 million is a big figure, okay? 580 million. The US has like 350 million or something, or 400 million people. So imagine a population larger than the entire country of the United States of America. Every single person in that country is an active customer in JD.com. That's how many customers they have. Okay, this is huge. JD is the biggest retailer basically. Alibaba I think has the most customers worldwide, but I think JD actually has the highest revenue. So 88 million daily active users. So, like we discussed, that's like a quarter or fifth of the population of the United States of America shops at JD daily, basically. Imagine that. That's the kind of number we're talking about. And the logistics efficiency has become even better. Even better. At 95% same day or next day delivery. Okay, which is very, very good. And, China, they have a lot of urban areas and they're reaching out and they're actually getting a lot of employees from these urban areas and they're trying to sprawl their octopus legs, tentacles everywhere in China, which is a good thing if you're, owner of the company. I know that, we can't really call ourselves investors per se if you own JD stock. I know about the touch stuff. I don't want to talk about it here. I just want to talk about the company strictly, okay? So, moving on. JD Supply Chain services 3.67 million brick and mortar stores. So normally, JD is an online service provider, right? And product provider. They have a bunch of stores online. They build stores online for pre-existing brands, big brands sometimes. And they're not necessarily known for their brick and mortar stores, but they actually do have physical stores and they service, apparently 3.67 million stores. That's a lot. Okay, so my original country of origin is Bulgaria, and it has like 7 million people in there. So that's half of the population. So imagine half of the population of my country of origin having a brick and mortar store. That's how many stores JD.com services with its logistics arm. That's insane. Insane. And to top it off, Tesla's online store launched recently on JD. Just like I mentioned earlier, JD builds stores for pre-existing brands or new entrepreneurs, and they service something like, I don't know, many millions of entrepreneurs on their websites. And of course, they take a cut out of everything they do. So it's a pretty big, revenue stream in there. And as you can see, they've been using the revenue to grow very aggressively and to get larger and larger market share, at least in China. Their foreign progress has kind of stalled a little bit. It's slow. They are trying to do some stuff with some B2C in countries like, Germany and other European nations. But I think it's slow to penetrate. Alibaba did a much better job, I thought, of expanding. But JD.com has certainly the capabilities, and I think with their superior logistics and build out of infrastructure expertise, they'll do just fine. But it's just very touchy when you try to switch countries, especially for a company like JD, who's very much aligned, with the interests of the Communist Party of China. So, having said all that, I'm still pretty optimistic. As long as the political issues are set aside and they're calm and the pre-existing structures helping, investors like us in the West and other parts of the world take part of this, fastly expanding behemoth of a company like JD and Alibaba. As long as we're able to take some part of it and, participate in the revenue sharing there, in the profit sharing, then I think it's a brilliant deal. I mean, you can't find any better deals in the West, especially now with companies like Nvidia and Apple scoring all-time highs and valuations being just absolutely crazy. I mean, I think Apple now is 31 price to earnings ratio. I actually exited recently all my Apple position because I thought it was just getting a little bit too rich. Apple, to me, should be sitting somewhere around the 20 to 25 PE ratio, not 31, 32. And it's basically reached the $3 trillion market cap as a company. Whereas, a higher revenue business than Apple, it's not the same, I understand. But I'm just for comparison purposes, JD has a higher revenue, basically, and it's not marked at 3 trillion. It's not even marked at 300. billion, right? It's 30 30 billion if you count the enterprise value. So I mean, that's like 100 times less for a company that revenue is more. Granted, its profit margin is 25 times less at the moment, but still, that's a 4x, overvaluation. You can't really compare the companies. I know Apple's got a ton of moat and JD's got no moat, but I just want to like put figures into perspective. Okay, it's very difficult to comprehend how big this company is and how very low valuation it has. Right, so that's the reason I'm doing this play. If you're playing JD, I would like to know about it. Also, if you think I'm an idiot for thinking JD is a good play right here, please let me know in the comments. Either way, if you think it's a genius idea or an idiotic idea, I want to know some of the reasons. I actually browse, stock tweets quite a lot and like Twitter and stuff in order to find out information on these companies. And these companies tend to be very polarizing. So I'm interested into what kind of comments I get. All right, let me know what your play is here, and if you think I'm doing some crazy stuff with these put sells. All right, that's it for now. Hopefully I'll make another video soon. Peace.